Good morning, guys. So I'm just waiting for a few more people to join in, and then we'll get started here pretty soon on the pre-market watch list. But for now, you guys can see this is pretty much my top watch, or my top six on the morning so far. Good morning, guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and get started on the pre-market watch list. As you guys can see, we do have a couple gappers this morning, newer ones. APRN, we've been watching this one for basically the last week now. It had a pretty nice run up yesterday, and we're getting a decent gap up as well. Emrin was on the watch list because of the gap up last night. And there's a few others popping up. HSDT doesn't look bad either at the moment. It's pretty strong so far in pre-market. We have a big level kind of towards like $1. So this is another one. I'm just going to really quickly go back to the watch list that I made last night, and I'm going to go over all of those really quickly. And then after that, we'll go over the gappers and we'll see if there's anything else to go over. So the first one I had on the watch list last night was NERV. This is one that had a pretty nice breakout yesterday. I was watching this one pretty closely. So for me on Nerve, the key level was basically around like this 460. You can see we broke out. We tried to hold that level as support, broke out again, and then eventually broke under that level. So at the moment, it does look weak. It could easily just fade back down to the low fours if it stays heavy. But just in case, I do want to just set a price alert in case this does get some volume again. And then if it pops over that key level and holds, that's when I'll keep an eye on NERV. Other than that, I'll just avoid it. MRIN, I was actually hoping this would push higher last night. I was hoping that it would set up for a really nice short. But it kind of just topped out at $3 and then failed. 3 is kind of a big level here on the daily chart. But I was hoping more for like towards $4 or higher. But it just didn't happen. We got a weak open today, and it's just kind of trading sideways. So definitely not interested in a short on this at these levels. There's just not enough of a gap for me to be interested. We have some resistance here towards 220 to 240 is kind of a level. And then beyond that, I would say like 270, 280, all the way to threes. So yeah, for this one, definitely going to avoid it unless it traps shorts down here and then pops back up. I'll go ahead and set a few price alerts here so we can see how it reacts. And if it does trap shorts and then pops over like this key support level from pre-market, which was around that 240 level, if that turns into support, I'll definitely keep an open bias on MRIN, and hopefully it stays in play. But yeah, the only way I'd really be interested in a short is if we got a really nice run up or extension. Other than that, I would just avoid it. And then longs, I would prefer just to wait for the key 240, 250 to really prove itself and then look for the bigger picture. But I'm sure there's probably some people longing it, risking off of this 210 support area. So we'll see what happens. Right now, it's kind of 50-50 from here. APRN. So this one had a really nice hold of that $6 area last night or yesterday towards the afternoon. And nice little breakout here. Let me take a look at the daily on APRN. So basically we topped out at 730 and pulled back to the 680. So that would have been right around this level. And then we got to pull back to the 680, which was the previous high of this candle. So 680 is a pretty important level if you look at the daily from this previous day. And then we have some resistance towards maybe 750, 850. This general area is kind of some resistance towards $8. So on the daily, I feel like it does have room to maybe squeeze higher. We have a nice U shape off the lows. We held this $5 support. So we'll see what happens on APRN. It definitely did make a pretty big recovery yesterday. So for me, if I were to look for like a long on this, I would probably want to see this pull back and then later on recover over 680 and start to build back up. And then maybe we can look for some type of long. We'll see how it reacts around this 680 level. And let's even zoom out a bit. You can see right here when we opened up and spiked, it was right into the 680 level. So this is a pretty big level here, 680s. So that's going to be my plan on it. I'm going to keep an open bias. If it breaks down, maybe turns this area into resistance, then we can possibly look for a fade back down. But I'm hoping that it kind of pulls back, traps, and then breaks out again. So we'll see what happens on APRN. That's definitely going to be a main watch for me. INDO popped up yesterday on the scanner, and that one's gapping up a little bit. So we can definitely keep oil names on watch if they start to kind of pop up on the scans. This one has a big level towards $9. PET, I was watching yesterday as well. So we have all-time highs towards $10. But it ended up closing kind of strong yesterday towards the 720 level. So if this one starts to build up, I would say over 740s. I'll probably keep an open bias on this one if it's doing some decent volume today. So that was PET. AXSM is a really grindy stock, but it's been grinding higher the last few days. Maybe we'll get a little bit of continuation off the open. That might be something to watch on the side as well. GCT had a pretty big red day yesterday. Alright guys, so that was pretty much everything from my watch list from last night. Going back to the gappers, let's go ahead and just quickly go over these. There's only a few that I'm really watching. WINT, let's take a look at the daily. So we have a lot of resistance towards $1 and $1.40. I'm just going to set a few price alerts above VWAP on this one in case it does stay in play. HSDT. So I'm just looking at a few things. HSDT, they might have an ATM and potential dilution. So if this one does spike towards some of these bigger levels on the daily, I would definitely be interested in a short. Every time this stock has spiked up towards like 250, 260, I basically rejected off that level and closed really weak. Rejected, closed weak. This day it closed all the way at 158, which is down here. Pretty weak close. So I'd be more interested in a short on this one if it did run higher. But for right now, not a bad move in pre-market if you were going long on these little flags. Those were some nice moves. But it is getting a little bit extended. I guess we'll see how it reacts at the open, if it can hold above this 68-cent level. That's kind of the key level here that it needs to hold for continuation. MRIN, I already went over that one. Not really interested in it unless it pops up later somehow. AVYA is getting a little grind up towards $1. We have some gaps on the daily chart. Like we have this little gap right here at $1 from 87 to $1. We have another gap at 137 all the way to basically $2. That one would probably have to do a lot of volume though. It does have a little bit of a bigger float. ILAG. A lot of you should be pretty familiar with this one. We've traded this one a lot in the last couple of weeks. We had this big run up and it went parabolic towards the 7s and then it faded all the way down. And then that last big pop rejected towards 450. So that ended up being a nice little short. Right now it's not really up that much though. So this might be something to watch if it holds up really well and has a lot of volume. I'm hoping that it kind of reclaims VWAP and spikes higher. But this stock is pretty beaten up right now after, the last pump it had. So my expectations on this one aren't very high, but we'll see. APE. This is a new IPO. For those that didn't know. Pretty nice fade on it on that day one. Let's see what SPY's doing. And yeah, SPY is so far pretty weak. I feel like we've had a few pretty big moves to the downside. I mean, we gapped down, grinded down, and then had another huge gap. So I don't know if we're getting extended to the downside here, if today is going to be a little bounce day. We did have kind of this area towards 410 that we were trading at for basically a week sideways. So this level here might act as a big level towards 410. So far we're holding, 411, 412, 413 is trying to hold. So we'll see how SPY reacts towards the open. But it's definitely been pretty weak the last few days, as you guys can see. All right, so we only have about 3 minutes until the market opens. There's really not anything this morning that I'm like super excited about. So I'm gonna be really patient at the open. Hopefully we get some other stocks that pop up. If we get anything else that I'm watching, I'll be sure to hop on the mic and kind of let you guys know. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the YouTube comments. OXY actually made a pretty nice recovery yesterday, kind of just chopping around, and now we're pushing back above that 70 level, right back towards those previous highs. MRIN did get a little spike off the open. I just don't know if it's going to continue. We'll see if volume comes in on that one or not. ILAG is trying to push over VWAP, but having some trouble. And so far, APRN is pretty heavy at the open as well. So we'll see if this pullback can reclaim above 680s, or if this ends up being a lower high and fade back down. HUSA, wow. So HUSA is an oil name. So we got to keep an eye on INDO as well. And that one just popped up on the scanner. But yeah, I'm definitely going to shift my focus over to these oil names. That was a pretty big move on HUSA. SPY is getting a little bounce off the open as well. So far, nice hold on INDO of that 880 level. Just trying to break out. MRIN looks pretty weak. So I'll just take that off my screen for now. Ape is pushing. INDO, really nice breakout. We're going to test those pre-market highs soon, it looks like. There it is. ENSV just popped up on the scans. As soon as I saw HUSA running, I should have just bought INDO because it was still pretty low towards that support level, but I hesitated a little bit and I missed that move. HUSA is pulling back a little bit. It got extended there. We got a little pop there on WINT. We'll see how this reacts to VWAP. So far, just really heavy action on APRN. So there's really no reason to be looking at longs on this one today, in my opinion. NERV just popped up on the scanner. Nice move. That's the one I was talking about in pre-market above this 460 level. So you can see that response we just got above 460, really big breakout. Now I want to see if we can kind of pull back and trade sideways for a bit and show a lot of support. If that happens, then I might consider an entry on Nerve if it holds up really well and gives me an area with tight risk. But right now, it kind of feels like a chase after this big spike. Is Bitcoin spiking or something? I'm just wondering why Mara's popping up on the scans. I guess it's getting a little bounce. Yeah, big rejection on Nerve, right back to that 460 level. But we'll see. If it holds 460, maybe it'll build back up later on, but I have no interest in this at the moment. ENSV is trying to hold up as well. I don't know if that one's going to have enough volume though. It only has 1 million in volume right now. And it's kind of choppy here. But I'm going to keep an eye on ENSV just in case. What was that stock from yesterday? There was a really nice stock yesterday. It was this GRFX. It gave a really nice long opportunity. There was a lot of volume. That was a really nice play yesterday. It got really choppy though in these price channels. But I ended up just trading the open on that pretty much. INDO is holding 920 so far. Let's see, Husa's holding 5 as well. I'm going to keep my focus there. Nice little push on ear. Just got a little scalp off that move. What I noticed on the daily though is we do kind of have a big level towards $3. On this previous day that we ran, you can see right here we have a lot of volume that was traded above the threes. So hopefully we can get a push up into that level. But at the moment, it's kind of rejecting 280s. So we'll see how this little pullback reacts. It's definitely a little bit extended at this point. So kind of a slower morning for me. I did miss a few plays though, like INDO and HUSA. I didn't want to chase them. But those ended up being some nice plays today. Okay, here we go. VIVK off the scans. Let's take a look at this one really quickly. There's not a lot of volume on this one. Only like 300,000. But let's keep an eye on it. Maybe some volume will flood into this one. It has some big spikes on the daily chart as well, which is kind of interesting. Nice continuation there on INDO. Really nice breakout. Let's see how HUSA reacts here. I'm also still keeping an eye on EAR as long as it holds above this 270 area. All right, guys. So far this morning it wasn't bad. In terms of like opportunities, there was some decent opportunities. APRN, heavy at the open, stayed heavy under that 680 level. That was a good opening short, using that area as a stop. Nice fade down. Right back to that $6 support level that we broke out of in the afternoon yesterday. But below that, we still have a lot of room to fade. APRN kind of falls in the meme stock category because it was running with Bed Bath & Beyond at that time, but had a lot of strength yesterday. So that one was a nice fade this morning. The oil names kind of popped up. As you guys know, HUSA right off of the open popped up on the scans, made a huge move to 5. Immediately after that, I automatically pulled up INDO because these usually run together. They're both in the same sector. And we did get a nice push on that one. And then another breakout later on after it kind of traded sideways for a while. We'll see where it goes from here. I mean, HUSA is still looking strong for now. So I'm hoping that HUSA can kind of follow in INDO's footsteps here and get a huge breakout. But I'm not really sure if that's going to happen. I haven't been watching it too closely. But I do like how it's holding 530 for now. So if we get some decent volume, I think this has potential here. INDO as well, it's still holding $11, so it's not completely over. We still could break out higher. We have a lot of resistance towards 12, so I'm hoping that this one kind of builds back up and pushes there. But we'll just have to see how it reacts above 11. You can see it's trying to flag a little bit out of this little range, but we still need to hold 11 for a while, I think, if it's going to set up again. I don't really like to trade these flags after we've already had a big run up because for me, I just feel like it's not going to be as nice of a breakout as the first one typically if we get that big move. And then sometimes you can get caught up in the chop. It's only been about an hour since the open, so it's still a little bit early. We might get a few more things on the scans, but mostly just watching these two, INDO and HUSA. Any PT, if this can build up over 220 over time, that might set up for something later on. Let me just see if there's anything else worth pointing out. So yeah, I'm not seeing much of anything else. Probably just gonna sit on the scans and see what else pops up later on. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the private Discord screen share. So if you're in the private Discord, you guys can switch over to that and you'll be able to see my screen and hear my voice if I talk. For those interested in joining the private Discord, it does come with the nightly watch lists. I also send out watch lists in the morning for pre-market. It comes with my live commentary. It comes with the scans and a lot more. There's also a lot of good traders in here to learn from as well. So if you guys are interested in that, if you have any questions, you can join the free Discord channel that we have. There's a link for that in the description, and you guys can ask me any questions there. You'll see me under the admin. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can join that, and I will see you guys next time. I'm probably going to do another one at some point this week. So make sure to also turn on the post notifications. And yeah, I hope this kind of helped you guys out, and I'll catch you guys next time.